Okay, so today we're going to be working on one of my own personal cassette decks. Okay. This Marantz SD800. Okay, it came in the mail yesterday. And I gave it a complete service. Cleaned all the potentiometers, changed all the belts. Okay. Everything working 100%. Okay. It doesn't need it, but I'm going to change the front idler tire in here, even though it is working. Okay. And it's 100%. It's not going to be working for long. Okay. But it is functioning. But when you look inside the little window there, there's not much tread left on it. So, and I have plenty of idler tires. Okay. So, but it sounds awesome, plays awesome. It still had the original seal on the motor. So I was the first person in there in 30 years. The original belts were all melted and destroyed. So, but we're going to take this apart, get it on the workbench, pop the top, remove the mechanism, swap out that idler tire. So that's what we're doing today. This one here, it might say 1810, but it's actually an SD800. It was smashed in shipping when it came from eBay. So I had to put a different face on it. So, but it looks good. And I really don't give a fuck what people think. That's why there's no comments on my page. Because of the trolls. People who don't have anything intelligent to say should keep their fucking mouth shut. Maybe learn something. So, let's get this motherfucker apart and get it on the bench. So I'm going to pause this video, get a cup of coffee. I'll be right back. Okay. Yeah, you guessed it. We're at the fucking workbench. So, let's get this nice wooden top off. Okay, well, that didn't take too long, did it? Okay. So, all this has been finished. New belts. Everything nice and clean. So, I'm going to take off this record lever. There's a little C-clip right here. Okay, so I'm going to take that off. I got some little wiring clips to cut and stuff to loosen it up a little bit. Give it easier working room. Okay, so since I'm changing that front idler tire, I'll probably end up changing the belt for the counter. We'll see. Okay. But, yeah, this is a very nice cassette deck. It looks brand spanking new in there. So, somebody took really good care of this. So, but the next move is to pull the knobs, remove the face, and get it out of the way. Okay? You know, so I like it better when everything is taken apart and out of my way. Okay, you could probably change the idler tire just by taking the mechanism out, setting it down. But you do it your way, I do it my way. So, face is coming off. Okay, to get the face off, like I said, take the two knobs off. There's 3 screws right here. So while I am under here, to get the mechanism out, there's 3 screws right here. Okay, so while I'm under here, these 3 screws will also come out. Okay, so these 6 altogether are gonna come out. Okay. Okay. Anytime you take screws off of these cassette decks, you have to look around for that Loctite. Okay? So, and this is pretty strange. The last SD800 that I worked on, it had 2 ground wires. Okay, like here's a ground wire right here. It had another one over here, okay, which this one does not have. And that's extremely weird. I have to keep an eye out for that damn thing. I have a feeling this is it right here. So, no, I guess that's not it. Maybe this is it right here on the side of this mechanism. Maybe it'll just come out with the mechanism. So that's pretty strange, but whatever. I guess, you know, at the factory, everybody builds them differently, but whatever. Okay, so 3 more screws and this face comes off. And there's only 2 more screws holding the mechanism on. Then there's the record spring right here, okay? So I'll have to take this record spring off, take this lever off. Okay, and I'm gonna lay a little towel down to set the mechanism on. Okay, I don't want to damage nothing. So, all right, when we come back, the face will be off. The mechanism will be off. Okay, piece of cake. Okay, so I disconnected the record lever spring laying right there. I removed the record lever arm. I'm going to put a little fresh grease on that post after I clean it up a little bit. Okay. Disconnected the ground wire. Now I have to fish it down out of the VU meter there. Okay, the face has been removed. Okay, so this mechanism should be nice and free. Okay, so I'm going to take the ground wire down and get it out of there. And then we can get this mechanism out and set it down. Okay. Everything looks to be doing okay. Okay, so what I like to do is I like to lay towels down to separate the mechanism from all these wires and stuff like that. Okay, kind of give it like a little pillow to rest on. And then stick some towels underneath the front of it. Okay, because these things here are like teeth. Okay, so just prop it up, give it somewhere to rest on. Okay, so now open up the cassette door, because these 2 little screws right here have to come out. Okay, little tiny black screws. The idler tire that we're going to get to is right in here. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to put a brand spanking new 14 by 19 by 2. Okay. 14 millimeter inside, 19 millimeter outside, 2 millimeters wide. Okay. So I get these from fixtureaudio.com. Okay. I love doing business with them. They never make any mistakes. They send me exactly what I asked for. Okay. If you're wondering where I get my belts, I get those from turntablesneedles.com. Very happy with them. They never make any mistakes and are very nice and they work with you. So if it wasn't for those two companies, I wouldn't be able to do any of this. Okay? Because I'm really not that smart. Okay? Okay, so let me get these two screws out of here. Get this black plate out of here. Time to pause. Okay, with these black screws taken out of here, this just lifts right out of here. Okay? Piece of cake. So, there is the idler tire that I'm talking about. Right there. If you look closely, you can see it does not have a whole lot of rubber left. Okay. So, I mean, it could probably run for a couple months, but I seriously doubt it. Okay, so this little spring right here that is on here, it can rest on this little pin right here. So I'm going to take this spring and I'm going to pull it back and rest it right there on that little peg. Okay. So the camera's having a hard time. There it is. Focusing on it. But yeah, that spring will pull back and rest on that peg. These two washers just snap onto that post. So I'm going to stick a little tool like a dental pick, okay, like a watch tool. I'm just going to take this and slide it behind these two little washers, okay, and I'll slide, and that will pry these up off of here, okay. So this will be a very delicate procedure, all right. But you take your time, be patient, and try not to lose anything, okay. Now, if I do lose those washers, okay, you can get little C-clips, miniature ones. They're 0.8 millimeter, okay, 0.8 millimeter. You can see the black ones inside the bottle there. Okay, they will fit on that post if you lose that little snap washer. You can go to your local hardware store and get 0.8 millimeter. All right, so don't panic if you lose that kind of stuff. All right, it ain't the end of the world. So, I can see there's a little bit of dust in here I need to clean with some Q-tips and stuff. But we can do that once we get that idler wheel changed. This belt right here, okay, is getting a little stretchy and weak. So we're going to change that also. All right. Yeah, it's losing its shape. It's not returning back to a round. Now, if I was a tight ass, I would boil it. But since I have a drawer full of belts, it'll be just fine. All right, let me pause this video and remove that idler tire. Okay? Okay, with those two washers removed, that idler tire will come right off of the post. Okay, so we'll get that off of there. Okay, now with that idler tire taken out of there, okay, and we set it down next to another idler tire, okay, that's the correct dimension, okay. I could stick this one on there right now and it'll work, but I really don't do that, so when I have a bag full of fucking new ones, okay. But we're going to measure this for the fuck of it. All right. Okay, it's about 18.9. All right. So we'll measure it with this one. 19.5. Okay. So, yeah, this one doesn't have too much life left. All right. So, we're going to remove that rubber, put a brand new rubber on it, and then we'll measure it again and see if it is the same. Okay, should be. If you put too big of a rubber tire on there, your pause button is not going to work and the mechanism will malfunction. Okay, so these have to be very close. All right. Now I could take this off of here and put some two-way sticky tape around the inside of that and put it back on. That is actually what I did with this. So underneath of this is 2 millimeter wide two-way sticky tape. And that's how I figured out the dimension in the first place when I first started doing cassette decks. Okay. So, but we're going to put a brand new tire on here. Okay. Here's the old tire. Here's the new tire. I know it don't look like much, but this one here has a thicker wall. So it's going to have a bigger diameter. Okay. So when you take these off, they're a little difficult, so don't stab yourself with a screwdriver or anything like that. It's just like removing a car tire, okay? So, but, you know, and try not to crack your idler wheel, all right? So, we're going to put that on there. Okay, brand new idler tire is put on, and you could see all that nice rubber. So this is going to last a very, very long time. Okay. So we'll measure it and compare it. It should be around 19 point something. Okay. There it is. 19.6. Okay. So 19.5. So there we go. Well, now it says 19.4, but whatever. Okay. As long as it's above 19, it's not going to eat your cassette tapes. So take the old back into the drawer of motors and belts and pulleys and extra stuff. Okay. So now we got to get this wheel back on that peg behind that spring. Okay, piece of cake. But I'm going to take a Q-tip and I'm going to put a tiny little bit of oil on that post. Not much, just enough because it hasn't had any in 30 years. Okay, just a little dab of motor oil or 3-in-1 oil, whatever. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, when you put that idler tire back in there, you want it to spin freely by itself, okay? You don't want it you know, rubbing up a bunch against a whole bunch of stuff. All right. So now I have to put these little snap washers back on there. Okay. Behind that little pain in the ass spring right there. Okay. So put the idler tires in there. Now it's time to put these little snap washers on. Okay. Okay, also, what you can do is when you put the idler tire back in there, is to test the mechanism to make sure that the pause button and everything is still functioning, okay? So when you press pause, you want to see that move, okay? To get away from the capstan, all right? And that's exactly what that ought to do, okay? The play button is pushed down, okay? So it all should be nice and tight. A lot of grip, all right? Rock solid, okay? And then when you press pause, it ought to move, okay? So if you don't see that move away, okay? And now it's free, okay? That is perfect, all right? That's how you know when you have the correct size. That's where all the patience comes in. So let me get those little snap rings back on, the snap washers. And then pretty much the reassembly. Put the black plate in, put the little black screws in, put the mechanism back in, screw it all back together. Okay, so reassembly is the same as the disassembly. All right, so, okay. So remember, I was using a 14 millimeter by 19 millimeter by 2 millimeter idler tire. Okay, and it's a perfect fit for Marantz SD800, Marantz 1810, basically all of them. Okay, that's the idler tire you want. Perfect fit, beautiful. Okay, but you know, you do it however you like, but that's how my Marantzes like it. So let me put them washers back in there. Okay, so the idler tire's back in there. That little spring has a little catch back there, okay? There's a little black catch where that spring wants to be behind it, okay? Once you pull the spring out a little bit and you hook it on that little lever when you're working on it, okay? When you want to put it back after you get those washers put on there, just make sure that that spring is behind that little catch, okay? So now, when you press play, okay, you can see that that goes right up there to the take-up wheel, okay? And it's all nice and grippy, okay? And the pause button still works, okay? So that's what you want to see, okay? That's the kind of tolerances that you're dealing with. Okay, it only takes 1 millimeter and your idler tire is done. It ain't going to work. It's going to eat your cassette tape. Okay, so this is all ready to get put back together. Okay, so I know this has been a very long video, 25 minutes. Wow. So I know yous don't need to see me reassemble this, okay? Because you've seen other videos of people putting cassette decks back together. But, you know. So, normally I would play music in the background, but YouTube, they keep blocking my fucking videos, okay? So, from now on, I'm not allowed to play no fucking music. Okay? So, I'm going to end this video. I'm going to spend the rest of today cleaning this stuff up. Okay? Oh, I still got to put a fucking belt on that counter. Oh, okay. Okay. Nice brand spanking new belt. Working perfectly. Now, I can restart the assembly process. Okay. All right. So, y'all have a good day. Thanks for watching. Like I said, I know you don't need to see me put this all back together. Okay? Unless you want me to make a part 2 video. Yeah, maybe. All right, later. Peace.